Anyone else miss when game consoles were unique? Modern game consoles have more in common with PCs than the consoles of the past. With the original Xbox, I saw it as a bit of a novelty, that it was similar to a PC in a way, but now the PS5 and the Xbox Series are basically the same system. I sort of lost interest. The Switch isn't much different from an Android tablet, but it's a bit more limited on what you can do with the hardware. I remember being a 5-year-old kid growing up in the California Bay Area and having access to the Sega Channel. At the time, it was the most magical experience I could describe. I would literally plug in my cartridge, connect a cable to it, and magically had access to games. I know we now have hundreds of various digital storefronts, and even Game Pass and streaming, but at the time it felt innovative, incredible, and as a kid, it was black magic. I'd feel the same way when plugging in my 32X and getting 3D graphics, or plugging in Sonic 2 into Sonic & Knuckles to play as Knuckles. All of this innovation for me blew my mind, and at the time, there were no limits where consoles could go. Every new add-on, every new function felt unique and original. This feeling would continue for me into the ubiquity of 3D graphics with the N64 and the PlayStation 1, and the amazing 2D graphics of the Sega Saturn. We had the ability to plug in additional RAM into our N64 to play Donkey Kong 64, and access the additional features of Perfect Dark. It made everything feel special, and it kept feeling like we had a long way to grow. We then had 4-way link cables on the GBA, the N-Gage being a phone and a game console, the internet being normalized on consoles, with the Dreamcast and the original Xbox, the PS2 getting an MMO, and even the GameCube requiring you to use a GBA adapter to play co-op in Crystal Chronicles. All of these decisions felt really special, and yes, some of it was a little gimmicky, like the iToy, but it all felt like it was pushing gaming forward in some sort of way. The last bit of innovation for me was the Wii's motion controls, the 3DS and DS with their dual screens, and the glasses-free 3D on the 3DS. Oh, and also that second screen on the Wii U, and probably the weirdest thing of all, the back touch screen on the Vita. Since these last pieces of innovation, what have we really gotten in the innovation of hardware that actually changes the way how we play? The ability to play your Switch in handheld or docked didn't really change anything about how games were actually played. It's neat, but not really innovative in comparison to something like motion controls. I think Nintendo could have had something with Labo, but they just didn't really commit. Personally, I think 90% of hardware innovations that truly affect how games are played have already probably been made. We have motion and gyro controls in most controllers, we have HD rumble on the Switch, adaptive triggers on the PS5, and I would consider all those really minor since they don't actually really change how games are played. Then we have ray tracing, upscaling, and frame generation, and they're all treated as the next big revolution, but all it does is make things look prettier and doesn't actually change the games that are made. Personally, I think from this point on, the vast majority of changes to gaming will probably come on the software side. Yes, graphics will get better, but that won't really change how games are actually played. We have the third dimension, we have lighting, we have motion controls, and reactive peripherals. We can also connect with anyone around the world, and if you count MMOs, we even have worlds that continue to persist after you log off. Outside of full dive VR like in Sword Art Online, you don't really have anywhere else to go, at least on the hardware side. Software side, I can see AI becoming more prevalent, both creating assets and code, but also integrated into the game itself. I'm sure before 2035, we will see a AAA game that uses a large language model to create a world where you can have open-ended conversations with NPCs. We'll likely see some new game genres as well, especially as tools become more accessible. But what those genres look like, I have no idea, because if I did, I would be making it. I'm unsure if the innovation of the past is even possible at this point. Maybe outside of a few high-tech breakthroughs, maybe we've already done all the crazy innovative ideas. There's no longer a need for lock-on cartridges, or peripherals that add extra power to the console. No third-party company can create an add-on to add new functionality to a system, largely because how locked down they are, but they're also pretty much already capable of doing anything a gamer desires. So where do we go from here? No clue. However, maybe it means that we actually get to focus on the most important part of gaming, which is the games. Anyways, that's it for today, everyone. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your time.